Bloggo's POW.
Right, let's have a look at how the Super Scaler games fared on the Commodore 64. Right, so first off we're going to start with something I know, and this is the Commodore 64 version of Space Harrier, and everybody thought they were crazy. Well, they were crazy, but teenage Bloggo thought it was a good idea to buy this on launch, so let's see if mistakes were made, maybe. And already Mr. Harrier looks like he's riding a unicycle. And okay. Shit. Already you can see obviously the limitations there of having a such a powerful coin up in the space of a Commodore 64. But jankiness aside, and a completely unforgivable collision detection, I was quite happy with this back in the day. I don't remember dying this much in it, but then again I did have an auto-fire joystick which probably helped quite a bit. So I'm just going to do the time tested and proven category of just rotating in circles, and it works. I've got a soft spot for this. By today's standards this is awful. But no, by 1987 standards, it was acceptable. Christ almighty. I do remember taking it around to a friend's house who actually said, "Do not darken my doorstep with this ever again." I don't think I did, because he moved away. And for that one person watching who knows who I'm talking about, it was Anthony Giles. There you go, he's not watching, but obviously Sergeant Goat is, and he'll know it, Anthony Giles. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Oh crap. It's missing the checkerboard floor, which obviously the Spectrum version had, which I covered obviously a few years ago. And that dragon, it does look very wonky, doesn't it? Nice and fast, but very wonky, and changing colours for no reason whatsoever. I don't appear to be hitting it, but it's still changing colours. It'll probably explode. Oh, I definitely hit it that time. And it's turned white as well, like a giant white dog turd floating in the sky. And it's just fallen apart. Now my timer's run out. Some versions of the arcade game had a life counter at the bottom, so you could play for a short amount of time before losing lives, and that's just run out. It's given me a lot of lives, but they are depleting, so it's not a case of I'm running this on a trainer. More's the pity. Christ almighty. Yeah, I'm good at Space Harrier. I'm not good at this version of Space Harrier, apparently. Not anymore anyway. And lots of things are missing. Like I said, the checkerboard floor, the attack patterns are a vague representation of what they are in the arcades. There's none of the bug-eyed monsters you get in this stage in the arcades, and later on you'll find out some of the stages are in the wrong order. The bonus stage where you ride the dragon is missing. I don't know what's going on with that music. Okay, stage 3 AMR. Now this is where things start going wrong, because this is called AMR but it's not. It's the stage after, it's CCL, where you dodge the strange polygon things, and there's no aliens in this stage on the Commodore 64 at all, just dodging, which is a bit strange. I forgot to put them in. Music's a nice version of the Space Harrier theme. Yeah, Chris Butler, who converted this, did go on to convert the excellent Commodore 64 version of Power Drift, which again I've covered in the past. So it's not in this video as a super scaler, but although we're a two-headed dragon. So he really cut his teeth, Mr. Butler did, on the Sega 3D games by doing this conversion of Space Harrier. It's a very, very fast dragon. bouncing in and out the screen. And yeah, CCL, but this is actually the AMR stage, so that's not quite right. Bouncing mushrooms, weird eggplant looking trees. One thing I will say is there was a US version of this which I've not played. Should we go and see how that's any different? Yes, let's. Right, so purportedly this is the Sega published US version, but so far it looks the same. Let's have a look though. Okay, so already the animation on the main character doesn't look like they're riding a unicycle, and there's a colour banding and more sound effects. Basic game is the same, graphics roughly the same. Space Harrier himself looks a little chunkier, but there's no bad thing. Whole thing runs slower, and as a result is more manageable. I mean, the original Elite version did run at a complete rate of knots, as you've already seen. Let's see what else is different. Let's see if we can get as far as we did in the UK version. There we go, here comes the dragon. Still sprinting around. Looks a bit more like a Space Harrier dragon as well, rather than, I don't know, reptilian lofty from EastEnders. Also seems to be dying very quickly. It's already down to white and... oh, it's gone through a whole range of colours this time. And you do get slight sound feedback when you're doing damage. Oh, and it's dead, so stage 2. There's still no space goblins, just rock heads. Like I say, more manageable. I mean, it's not bad. The quality of life improvements, in terms of the graphics, the speed being more manageable, is a definitely a good thing. But they've not added anything, they've just enhanced. So the things missing from the UK version seem to be still missing. Same weird music for this boss. Very odd. So, is this actually AMR, or is it actually in the wrong order again? No, it's in the wrong order again. Do we get any aliens to shoot? No. Double-headed boss dragon. Okay, and again, looks a bit better here. Facial features of the dragon are noticeably clearer. So yeah, we're back up to where we were with the UK version, with a slightly enhanced 4th stage. With the bouncing mushrooms again. Yeah, unusual. Interesting for me, knowing the other versions so well, to be playing this slightly different version all these years later, which I'm finding very interesting. But yeah, no real reason to play Space Harrier on the Commodore 64 these days, other than a sort of curio for an age where they believed they could do something, but actually probably couldn't. Quite as if Teenage Bloggo didn't learn their lesson back with Space Harrier. A year later, pretty much, was OutRun. Again, young Bloggo jumped at the chance to play OutRun on the Commodore 64. Let's see how that went. You can notice something already. Bit of a lack of colour. Well, at least it's not brown, it's just very grey. The Ferrari doesn't look too bad. But obviously the girl in the back of the car is obviously, well, the back of the car, the passenger side of the car is obviously not blonde, as advertised on the packaging. US gold, trading standards, etc, etc. Never mind. But what we've got here is ultimately a very speedy game. The Commodore 64 was not a good machine for doing superscalar sort of racing games. As if you've ever seen Chase HQ or WC Le Mans for it. Now, interesting thing about the Commodore 64 version of OutRun, it's not a multi-load like the other versions. However, you don't get the branching courses at the end of each stage. What you do get though is an interesting way around it, where you'd load one of 5 different versions of OutRun with different courses on it. So we've gone for this course with the canyon here. So rather than choosing a course during the game, you choose which selection of stages you want to go for, A through to E. And I did spend a lot of time playing this, I must admit. Oh, into the back of a Porsche there. And I still have nostalgic feelings for this. Maybe more so than I do the Commodore 64 version of Space Harrier, but still nice. This is actually still nice to go back to. This reminds me of that Christmas. You know, that Christmas where OutRun was Christmas #1 because US Gold just pumped that stupid amount of money into it. And out of the 3 home computer versions at the time, I'm getting told off there, I think this was the best of the 3. The Spectrum version looked nice and still screenshots, but moved like a slug on super glue. And the Amstrad version was just an absolute travesty. Come to think of it, the 16-bit versions were pretty shit too. Anyway, right, so that's game over. But there is an American version of this as well, so let's have a quick look at that. Right, so the US version tends to add some colour, with a blonde girlfriend and a slightly squished Ferrari. And also, like Space Harrier, runs noticeably slower, which, to be honest, I don't know if that's an NTSC to PAL thing, which is a bit bizarre because normally NTSC games run faster. I don't know. The vagaries of NTSC, PAL and various different versions of Commodore 64 are beyond me. Anyway, slightly more colourful, but slower. Slightly differently designed cars. Not as exhilarating. For all its dullness, the European US Gold release was a lot faster and a lot more fun. This just feels like it's stuck in treacle. And already I'm almost out of time. Bloody hell, already. Oh no, it's just about made it to a checkpoint somehow. Taking a different course this time. But it's again interesting to see a game I know so well with a very slightly different version of it, based on the same programming as the original UK version, but jazzed up slightly for the American side of things. It is very unusual, isn't it? Apparently it's happened a lot back in the day. There's different versions of a lot of arcade versions where there was a completely different US release compared to what we got in the UK. Bionic Commando springs to mind because the UK version, from US Gold, I think Software Creations did it, was absolutely excellent, and the Capcom homegrown one for the States was absolutely dreadful. So yes, that's OutRun, both versions. Little bit of a bonus thing here. Let's have a look. Right, here's a bit of an oddity. This is something called OutRun Deluxe. This is a I don't know what this is. I found it randomly. It just seems to be a odd little tech demo of OutRun. But other than having a red Ferrari with a blonde woman in the passenger seat, that's about as far as it goes. This music is nothing like the OutRun music. It's really very, very basic, straightforward racing game. Very basic at that. But yeah, I just thought I'd include it for completeness. Shall we move along? Yes, let's. Right. As if trying to squeeze Space Harrier out on for a Commodore 64 wasn't bad enough, is Afterburner. Again, this is a UK developed one, I believe, and this was Activision that published it over here. Very squished screen, and up we go into the wild blue yonder. Oh, okay, what's going on there? Push fire. Okay, so that's weird. When I'm pressing left on the joypad, it's skipping a stage, which is very strange. So okay, we're not going to be turning left at all. But to be honest, looking at this, you're probably getting a good idea for what its shortcomings are. I mean, Space Harrier was ambitious, OutRun was ambitious, Afterburner on a Commodore 64 is almost madness. There's no way this was actually going to be a sort of playable game. And now I can't move at all now. Something weird going on with this. What's it doing? It's loading another stage. Something seriously wrong with this. And now I can't fire. And now we've finished another stage. Yeah, there's something broken about this. And it's just going to keep on scrolling and scrolling. What is going on here? To be honest, I don't think it's really worth bothering trying to fix. It's obviously a very, very bare bones version of Afterburner. I mean, the music's recognisable, but those rocks are lovely. Interesting. Not interesting at all. Anyway, guess what? There's an American version of this. Should we see if we can play that instead? Yes, let's do that. So, off we go on the aircraft carrier. And we do some taking off. I wonder what this is going to play. So far, it looks a little nicer. That's a nice font, isn't it? It moves slower, again, but it is instantly more recognisable as Afterburner, and the sprite work isn't too bad. The animation on that plane is actually really good. I am sort of surprised. Now, looking at the README, there didn't appear to be any controls to actually control the actual throttle of your F-14, but never mind, I'm not going to complain too loudly about that, because this is surprisingly smooth. It's a bit pedestrian. It's not exactly thrill-a-minute, oh shit, I'm dead, thrill-a-minute arcade gameplay, but surprisingly good. 9 lives, that's a very generous amount of lives. I don't think I will play it for an entire 9 lives, but and you can fire a missile by holding down the button and letting go of it, which is interesting. Oh, the planes flash when you lock onto them, that's interesting, rather than actually getting a reticle around them. Seems to be going on for a long time. No music. Did I mention there's no music? There is no music. Pressing the M button doesn't give you any music. That's a shame. Oh, I've been hit again. I mean, it's not a complete disaster. The Activision version did look absolutely awful. Not that I could play it properly. I didn't really want to. This is a little bit better, isn't it? Still, the problem is, again, you strip away the graphics and the speed of these kind of games, and you're really left with something which is just a bit poopy, really. One thing that is interesting, it seems to have minimised that. The Commodore 64, when it tries to do a 3D scaling game, you get really ugly outlines around the graphics. They've sort of minimised that on here. Stages don't run into each other, probably to facilitate a multi-load. Yes, and I wasn't wrong. There was a multi-load between stages, but fairly quick, at least on this disk emulation I'm doing, but I get planes flying from behind this time in a very, very garish green. They're well camouflaged, I'll give them that. They're not very good at avoiding my gunfire. And I died again. Yeah, is that supposed to be water? Green water? I don't know, we're flying over some bizarre alien planet, who knows? Right, yeah, this is actually getting pretty boring now. Shall we play the last game on today's list? Yes, we shall do that, shan't we? Yes. Right, so here we go. Last scoop scaler I'm covering today. This is obviously Thunderblade. This is by Chris Butler again, so let's see how this goes. And we're off. And this got high ratings at the time. Obviously, helicopters. Get that out of the way. Yeah, got high ratings at the time. It was the game of Christmas that year. What was that? 89, 88. No, I'm sure OutRun was 88. And Chris Butler seems to have done very well with the 3D effects here, even if I am shockingly bad. I have put a trainer on here because I know how bastard hard Thunderblade can be, even if in its original form, let alone a oh, behind view. Oh wow, that's super fast. Sort of impressive as well. Do you know what? For my money, if I hadn't had those nostalgic? What the hell was nostalgic rose-tinted goggles for OutRun and Space Harrier on the Commodore 64, this probably it is the standout video game of the video, I'd say. Those tanks look like VIC-20 joysticks. Oh dear. Glad I put the trainer on, actually. Status is over very quickly. We're at the boss already. Another helicopter. It's a dead helicopter. I'm not doing a eulogy for that one. Oh no. Very brave attempt, actually. Let's say that Chris Butler was really getting this super scalar stuff down with this. And as I mentioned before, power drift as well. I wonder what he's doing these days. Chris, what are you doing these days? If anyone knows Chris, ask him what he's doing these days. That'd be lovely. So I really did enjoy his work. Z or Z by Rhino, that was good. Commodore 64 version of Commando, that was good. Did you do Bombo, Chris? I can't remember if you did Bombo or not. I know it was published by Rhino, same as Z or Z was, but can't remember if that was you or not. Ghosts and Goblins on the Commodore 64, that's another one. Must do the Commodore 64 Elite Conversions video sometime soon, which Quasimod Lee suggested a while ago. In the meantime, we're still playing Thunderblade. And having played the Amiga version of this back in the day and quite liking it, do you know what? In terms of control and fluidity, should I say, of gameplay, this is better than the Amiga version. And doesn't have the stupid crap on the sides of the screen. Maybe I should do the Amiga Super Scalers soon. I know I've covered them before in my Sega vs Amiga videos, but that was 5 years ago. And blowing up the battleship. Let's have a quick peek at stage 2, shall we? So stage 2 is a canyon. And I do want to see what the 3D effects in the tunnels is like, so we're at least going to get that for a while before we decide we're getting bored. Attempt at doing that. Meanwhile, tunnels! There we go. Flew straight into a tree. Well done. And you know what? It ain't too bad, is it? criminally, Thunderblade never really had a good home version until the 3DS version, which was one of the Sega Ages jobbies. I wish it would have come out on the Switch, that would have been nice, but it didn't. But criminally underappreciated Thunderblade, I'd say. Makes this version all the more special that it's actually halfway decent. I think I just flew through a wall. Oh well, never mind. And we get to the boss again. It should be a big tank. Very similar to the big aircraft carrier battleship thing. So yeah, I think probably in a modern era, this is probably the standout game of the video. Rose-tinted spectacles aside. Good music as well. Yeah. Pleasantly surprised that this, at the 11th hour, the video is saved. Well, it's saved, but you know. So there we go. Some of those super scalers for the Commodore 64. What did you think of them? Have you played them before? Do you have any memories of them? Or is it the first time you've seen them? Whatever the answer to those questions, comment below.
Here, subscribe or naff off!